Hello guys and welcome to Death Before Dishonour, my first ever tournament over here on the channel. So I hope you guys tune in,
and welcome
enjoy.
to
Death Before Dishonour, my first ever So if we flip over onto Total War, we can see our first two competitors are up and ready. So we have Peri Peri Prisoner, also known as Chaos. Very good player, beaten me a couple of times actually before on the channel, up against Ben the Barman, who I haven't actually seen play myself, but I believe he's done a few tournaments, so this is quite, a heavyweight match, this one. And up next after this, we do have two newer players, who I believe one of them is their first tournament, and the other one is their second, so we'll get to those guys in a second. Let's see if these guys are ready to get going. So hopefully the stream is all up and running very nicely. Just let me know if it's not. I can't actually see the chat, unfortunately. But I'll get it up on my phone as well, so then I can communicate with you guys. And hopefully if we get the all good go-ahead, we'll get these two underway. So the first map is going to be Troll Country. It's a map I particularly like because it's nice and close quarters. Gets people fighting nice and early. Oh, just a sec there for Ben, and then we'll get going. So yeah, if you let me know if you guys like this tournament. I haven't actually done a tournament here before. Most of my gameplay before has not been super competitive. If this is something you guys enjoy, I'll try and do this every couple of weeks. And of course, whoever claims the trophy today will get a chance to, defend it in the next one as well. Sweet, it looks like they're good to go. Cool, it looks like they are ready and up now. We'll get this underway. Just wait for Ben to ready up there, and we will start. I don't have any favourites in this because I've only seen a couple of these guys play before, and I just know these two are very, competitive, very good players. So it should be quite a good affair. Let's see what they're saying. Ben, sweet. Start readying up then. It's quite cool actually using this spectator mode. I know it's a beta at the moment, but it does allow me to start, choose the maps, start the games when I want to. And also the perfect thing is I don't actually need a screen blocker, because unless I click on one of their names, their armies won't appear here. So it saves that little hassle, and for my first tournament I didn't want to bother, with screen blockers and all that kind of fancy stuff. Just wanted to pop on and get a couple of games going. Should be pretty damn fun. So I say we do actually have a few people viewing, which is quite nice. It's hard to kind of manage on the phone as well, because I have to hop over to the desktop version on it, so it all works a little bit janky. Now there may be a tiny bit of lag today, hopefully not too much, as some of these players haven't tried connecting before, but I've played against most of them before and never really had too many problems. So let's see over here. I did actually just play this army in a quick test battle up against Peri Peri here. So he has gone for a massive amount of skeleton spearmen here and skeleton warriors in the front line, including the Regiment Renowned version here of the skeleton spearmen, which is King Lakesh's Scorpion Legion. And he's also gone for 3 of the ultimate meme weapons of all time, the Screaming Skull Catapult. These are going to be pretty actually not too bad at taking down cheap infantry. They're not known for being competitive, but we'll have to wait and see how they get on. We also have 3 units of these Shoptier Great Bows, in fact 4 units of these guys, who are the bane of my entire existence. I hate facing these guys. They're just great at far and long range and just doing a crazy amount of damage. There's also a unit of Skeleton Horseman Archers. Let's see what he's just saying there. Yeah, I'm just saying good luck. It's always good to see good sportsmanship. Now for the front line of Ben, he has gone for some swordsmen, nice going, nice cheap, and going very wide. Also a couple of units of spearmen, also a little bit of a hardcore pocket here with the great swords and some handgunners. He does have Sigma's sons, if I'm not mistaken, right here, who are unbreakable, so they're quite perfect in this matchup. And a couple of units of legends. These guys are a bit crazy, naked religious fanatics who are going to fight to the death. I actually quite like taking unbreakable units in this matchup, so you can come up against lots of big nasty monsters. In the back he does have a great cannon protected by some spearmen, a couple of units of Empire Knights by the looks of it, and for his lord, let's check him out. He has gone for the mighty Boris Todbringer himself, up on his little flying griffin there. Not gone for Karl Franz, gone for Karl Franz better. And also a Bright Wizard over on the side. So it looks like we're all good to go. Let's just check quickly the leadership of the Tomb Kings, which is, of course, Cetra the Imperishable. He does not serve, he does not bow. It is the mighty, mighty Cetra. So I'll give them guys the go ahead. We'll get us underway. Just looking at the armies, it'd be interesting to see how the Tomb King army works here. I mean, these Screaming Skull catapults actually have the potential to do a ton of damage, but you know, there's a few sticky units here with the Virgenants and the Sigma's Sons, just, you know, potential to tank a lot of that kind of fire and not run away and fight to the death. And he does have Boris, who can get into the back lines, but that's going to be a little bit scary with this many Shopti Great Bows around. And the battle is underway. Let's see what's going to happen here. Now, as you can see, clearly the Tomb Kings have a range advantage, just up against the one Great Cannon here. That is going to force the Empire in, which is actually kind of perfect for this Tomb King build. As the first wave of... Oh, Jesus. Those catapults come crashing and do a huge amount of damage early on. Now, is there anything else hiding over in the trees over here? Ah, there is another gun over here. It looks like the Hammer of the Witches, which I missed earlier. Another Great Cannon. So he might be able to trade long range, but this is so much firepower coming in. And you can see already how much damage Boris has taken there from these Ushopti. This is what I hate about the Ushopti. They're just absolutely hammering him here. He's trying to get in, trying to do a little bit of damage and trying to escape those bows. And it looks like he might have escaped just for a little bit. The front lines are starting to get ready to engage, and these Ushopti need to be, you know, they need to get their running boots on. They don't want to get bogged down in these type of troops. They do decent, they have fairly decent combat stats themselves. They want to get behind the Skeleton Warriors, big old roadblock, slow them down. Catapults are still firing there now, starting to target out the handgunners, doing a good amount of damage there. And this is a really great start right here for the Tomb Kings and Peri Prisoner. Now he's got the Skeleton Horsemen, who are just, you know, backing away from these Empire Knights, which is where they want to be. They just want to be, you know, picking a few shots off against these high-value targets and just running away. It looks like the handgunners are going to go down, and the backup Empire troops are having to push forward as they've taken a huge amount of damage in the front line. But they still do have these great swords who should be able to punch their way through. And once they actually get into the front line, the Generals and the great swords and the Sigma Sun, they should be able to carve up this Tomb King army rather quickly. But they really need to get into that back line and start shutting it down. A couple of cinematic shots as well. We know generally what's going on in the battlefield. And this is just going to be a bit of a slugfest, you know, basic swordsmen versus skeleton warriors. No one's going to come out on top. No one's a winner in that one. It's just death all around. That great debuff coming down here by the Tomb Kings, making the Sigma Sons actually get overpowered by basic skeleton warriors. They do actually seem to be cutting their way through, but at least it's letting them hold a bit longer. As we can see, Ben the Barman has started to manage to break into this back line, and he is forcing these shots into close combat, which is really not where they want to be. Now if we take an overarching view of the battlefield here, it looks like the Empire has rallied after a very rocky start. Boris has started to heal up with his regen, and he's starting to fly into the back line. It looks like there's a couple of units of spearmen and so forth trying to break in. Some of these Shopti have been shot down. If I was Peri right now, I'd pull out these Shopti, chucking these skeleton spearmen and try and get that range back on. As yes, the cannons, sorry, the catapults doing a great amount of damage, but they really need those shots firing to scare off Boris, who is now running rampant in the back line, getting on top of these shots with great range. He's just going to be kicking them off. He's going to stand up though, but I'm going to go smack back, but Boris may push over in combat. That's really not where these shots want to be. Big flaming skull coming down here. It looks like it was just a little bit too early there. They've missed the spearmen. Have now gone running in onto Boris. Now over in the distance, it does look like the wizard, the has been on the ground. Just got a break here. It looks like Cetra has the Empire Knights. A great little win over here for the Tomb Kings. Maybe like started to go a little bit south of them though. That if I have broken into the back lines, and Boris is really doing a number on these shots here. Looks like a couple of units as well, again on top of these Screaming Skull catapults. It's a very even game so far. I mean, the power balance is very slightly in favour of the Tomb Kings, but all these, you know, big expensive units here have been caught in the back. And they seem to just be standing around at the moment. So there's a good summon come down of your Shopti, who will pop on Boris and start doing decent damage and hopefully get these great loads out of the way. Over in the distance, Cetra's taking some huge fire. Looks probably like from the Bright Wizard, possibly a firebolt. Of course, Cetra is weak to fire. He's taking a huge amount of damage. He does pop down Nero's Incantation, just to try and give him a bit of that more resistance and chase down that Bright Wizard. In the back lines, it looks like the Skeleton Horsemen have hopped on top of these hammers. Great Cannons and the Hammer of Witches. It's going good in the back line. The main fight is quite pitched now. These spearmen have managed to get on top of these Empire Knights, which is perfect for them. And but Boris, no, he's healing up. He's not doing too bad. And he really needs to start just chasing down these Shopti, who are very danger close to these great swords and Jones. If Ben manages to notice these, he can just chuck them on right here and start doing some serious damage. So it looks like the Empire have managed to crush through the front line, run into that back line, and they're causing massive amount of damage. Let's have a little look out over the back here. Skeleton Horsemen just doing their best, you know, chasing off units and bouncing off the field. Now, what did happen to Cetra? Did he go down is the question. I see the Bright Wizard, which isn't a good sign for Cetra. Looks like he might have been finished off by the Bright Wizard, which is a huge loss. This backline's going very well. They really need Cetra's leadership right now to try and keep this two kings army together. There's mass damage on both sides here. Looks like Boris has found a home on top of these Shopti, and he's just going to tear these guys apart. This is great play by Ben. Really, you know, after a very shaky start, he took so much damage. He really did manage to do a great comeback, and he's looking really like, you know, heavy favourite now. He's still got a unit of swordsmen looking fairly healthy, Flagellants, more spearmen, the Sons of Sigma are still around. There's a fairly healthy unit of greatswords. And I think that is going to be game by the looks of it. Now that first round is going to go to Ben the Barman. This is of course a best of 3 matchup. All the matchups are to date, including the final. We have 4 competitors, so it's just 2 semi-finals and a final. Standard kind of tournament rules, and no one's allowed to use the same army twice in the same best of 3. GG to the guys there. Great first game. That was just pure madness. The map may have helped the Empire slightly, you know, quite a small map there. Allow them to get in there and just bomb rush them straight away and get into that back line. But very interesting build by Piri Piri there. I really like that build actually. You don't often see the catapults, they are kind of a bit of a meme. But that firepower was just scary at the start. Almost managed to snipe out Boris, and that could have been a massive difference if the Empire lost their leadership that early on. A very good comeback by Ben the Barman there. We're going to be moving on to our second map here, which is, if I can find it, one that I really cannot pronounce. Let's go. Here we go. This map, it's probably a French saying. Anguilly is what we're going to stick with, is El Anguilly. It looks like Piri Piri is going to go Chaos. So these guys did do a gentleman's agreement beforehand, and they've picked up their matchups already. I'm not sure if the second pairing are doing the same or if they're doing a pick and ban, but we'll see on the actual time. So we have got Chaos up against Skaven. This is a matchup I don't know if I've ever played. I don't currently have the Chaos DLC, so I haven't used them much. And I don't tend to go Skaven against them. I tend to go Lizardmen and, you know, go heavy Temple Guard and all those big dinosaurs. Or lots of skinks with, you know, the two-handed weapons. Just wish them both best of luck here. Yeah, so 1-0 there to Ben the Barman. Coming up pretty tough there with his big old Empire. Be interesting to see how Piri Piri strikes back. I think he mains Chaos, so this is a good matchup for him. But coming up against Skaven, what will I do as Chaos? I'll probably have to go Mass Marauders. I mean, Chaos Warriors will stomp Skaven infantry quite comfortably, but they have so much firepower with the Giselles that heavy armoured, slow-moving targets just don't, you know, tend to fare too good. It'll be interesting. We'll see what they do. I did not expect that Tomb King build originally from Piri Piri. I played him literally just before the tournament. It was a little practice game, and it took me completely by surprise and just crushed me. So he's probably got something else up his sleeve. Who knows? Hey, we've got someone in chat as well. Sorry, I can't really type, unfortunately, because I don't have 2 screens. I only have 1 screen at the moment, so my whole screen is taken up by Total War right now. But if you want to leave any questions, just leave them in the chat, and I'll, after this stream is over, I guess I'll just hop into the comment section and reply to you guys. But it's quite exciting. Hopefully the stream is working all well. It's actually the first time I have streamed, so hopefully the audio is fine and everything. If not, you know, I'll upload all of these anyway afterwards as a separate video, as a big old YouTube tournament video. But very exciting overall. I don't know if anyone knows these two players before. Do let me know in the comments. If any of you guys have played against these guys before, you know, if you've had any good experiences up against them. And we'll see. When Ben's ready, we will hop straight in. This is quite a cool map. I think it's fairly balanced for tournaments as well. There's a bit of woods. I've tried to make most of the maps fairly balanced. They've all been preset, and the players already know what they are. Not gone for too many, you know. Some of the maps are just ridiculous with those huge hills. I fought one against Tomb King's uphill. I was Lizardmen. I just had to walk directly up a massive slope the entire time whilst getting shot. Was not good fun, so we tried to avoid some of those maps. Let's check how he's doing. Yeah, looks like he should probably just getting his army ready together. He's got a little bit of good luck. I've spoke to all these guys beforehand as well. They all seem like really nice people, so I know we wouldn't have any problems with any stream sniping or any of that, you know, kiting, any of that type of stuff. But I have actually put a little bit of a delay on the stream just so no one can do that anyway, just in case anyone is wondering. Don't know what I would take as Skaven in this build. I mean, you probably want a couple of Giselles just because they're so ridiculously powerful anyway, and they'll be able to take down any of the big entities you bring. But I might actually try and flip it, go for a bit more of a hardcore combat Skaven build with those little Plague Bearers, the Regiment Renowned version, a couple of them, maybe some Plague Monks. It looks like they're off to go, so we'll see what they do. Cool. Looks like they're ready. Let's hop into game 2. Cool. There was no lag in that first game, which was really good actually, so hopefully this game should just follow suit, and the same with the couple of games coming up afterwards. So let's have a little look here at the Chaos build then for Piri Piri Prisoner. Let's have a little look. So he, on the right hand flank, he has gone for Summoners of Rage, which is the Regiment Renowned Dragon Ogres. Super powerful, I see these guys use all the time, hit like an absolute truck. He's also gone for Chaos Warriors mixed in with some Chaos Marauders. That's probably a good shout. It's really good going wide against the Skaven. Also bringing a couple of great weapons, which is interesting. He's gone for some Aspiring Champions, right? These guys are the skulliest of skull bros. They just decorate themselves in so many skulls. I don't understand the love for it, but these guys are going to be really decent and boosting up nearby troops. Gone for a tiny bit of an air force here with 2 Chaos Feral Manticores. They're going to be quite good at hopping down on those ranged targets. And in the back here has gone for the big old flappy pigeon himself, Sethorial, the Everwatcher. He's going to be dropping spells. Very good missile resistance actually, and one thing Skaven really excelling is sniping out enemy lords with range, so that's going to stop that quite nicely. Well, he's gone for Chaos Trolls as well. I don't think I've seen these guys used by Chaos yet, but their regen should come in pretty handy as long as they don't get shot from distance. And there is a Chaos Chariot on the right flank, none on the left flank. So pretty damn decent army overall there, looking to punch through that nice big old combat army. I can already see this Skaven army is huge by the looks of it. I wonder if we can see the numbers up here. Yeah, he outnumbers him almost 3 to 1, not quite. And in the front we do have some gutter runners being all types of sneaky. And then it looks like just a mass of clan rats and Skaven slaves just holding up a big old blockade. These guys will get absolutely munched by the Chaos Warriors. However, it's all in good, all in good faith. They're here to get mulched. While in the back, we do have Natty Bobu's Sharpshooters, which are the Warlock Giselles Regiment Renowned, and also a Warp Lightning Cannon in the back, just to do that heavy damage. And it does look also like a couple unit of Rat Ogres, and I like doing this a lot as well, keeping the Rat Ogres in reserve, using them to protect this back line. Now for his Lord, he does have good old Lord Skrulk here, the just disgusting rat of all time. Look at how horrifying that guy looks right there. He's going to be coming in there, dropping all kinds of nasty spells and debuffs. So I think we're ready to go there. Well, we do also have a Warplock Engineer, and also the Dwarfin Menace, the Doomflayer's Regiment Renowned version. These guys were super nasty, however they have been debuffed quite heavily in the latest patch, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. It looks like there's a little bit of sneakiness in the back as well, with some Marauder horsemen, so that'd be interesting to see, just on the one flank. So let's get this underway. Yeah, sorry for any sniffling, guys. I am still ill. I've been ill for a ridiculous amount of time now. But let's see how this gets going. I'll be alright. I've probably had a visit from Skrulk at some point, but it looks like the Chaos... Oh, there we go. It was a little bit of lag as it kicked off, but they are starting to push forward. Chaos Trolls. I really haven't seen these guys used before. I don't know if there's any stats difference between them and normal Trolls, but it'd be interesting to see how they perform in this matchup. I mean, if they can get in there, they'll do a huge amount of damage, but it's just the actual getting in there in the first place. So the Feral Manticores are flying over, and it looks like there's a little bit of repositioning from the Summoners of Rage, as there is some shots coming in from the Warp Lightning Cannon, and no doubt Natty Bopal Sharpshooters, who, disaster though, are clearly not on guard mode, and it looks like they're running forwards. They probably were targeted onto those guys, and luckily Ben notices and manages to pull them back. It's a mistake I've made before. You know, you get your cannon crew, gets out of range, and just starts moving forwards to try and keep up. Good spot there, otherwise those guys could have been in some real deep trouble. So it looks like the Summoners and Chaz are coming back now. Some wild shots coming in there from the Warp Lightning Cannon. So the big old pigeon himself is trotting on through the forest there. I'm assuming he's just going to be getting chucked in the front line, just causing all kinds of chaos. And he's going to be a big problem actually for this game to take care of. Yes, spells down on him, and also maybe get the Rat Ogres to surround him. Where are these Manticores going? They're flying over to the left. Oh, they looks like they're going to come and try and shut down these Gutter Runners on the side. And we do see the Dwarfin Menace just rolling through the front line, swarming all over these Chaos Marauders. These guys are a right pain to deal with, as they just keep rolling around. It's really hard to pin them in. They are a little bit more squishy than they used to be. Looks like most of the front line is close to getting engaged, but oh god, right, he's got balls deep right in here. Right in the middle of the entire Skaven army. Doesn't seem to be taking too much damage at the moment. We do need to get these guys into assist. It looks like they're well on their way. One Manticore has been pinned down and has been driven off there just by someone from Clan Rats. I'm assuming it's We do now have the Sparring Champions coming in, and a final transmutation comes down. A massive one down on so many units. That can be getting some absolutely disgusting value. The rest of the Chaos do come piling on. This is what the Chaos want. They want to get all the Skaven bunched up. They can just crush them and let them do it. And there's a huge amount of crowd going on right now. However though, Sephora is massively damaged with a lot of cracks going down on him as well. Broken, running for his life right now. A huge center pocket does completely break. Over on the flanks, it looks like it's going fairly well for the Chaos, even though there's a lot of Skaven units just kind of being idle over here. On the other flank, it does look like those Horsemasters or Horsemen managed to sneak around, and the Ferromanticore is coming back. Now, if he can take these guys and chase off these Rat Ogres, these two units right here, that could be huge value for him right now. He does not want these guys coming back. The big pigeon has hopped on the Natty Bopal Sharpshooters, which is a good target. They can't really do much damage to him. You really want to get these guys offline. Great play so far. Looks like another big debuff has come down, however. And this centre pocket just collapsed with the Skaven. There is so many healthy Chaos units all around the battlefield. But the Skaven, you know, they're one of those armies which do run away and come back quite often. So they've still got a lot of troops. However, the power balance has started to slide in the favour of Chaos. It looks like someone caught the Dwarfin Menace as well, and they are running for the hill. So these Trolls, let's see how they're going so far. 21 kills, which is pretty decent. Summoners of Rage as well, managed to pin in these slingers. And they're just running over the Skaven right now. I'm not sure there's much Ben can do in this situation. Oh, this is a good play there. Get this Rat Ogres on and take out the Ever Watcher. He really needs to take this guy down if he really wants a chance to win right now. It looks like the Ferromanticore is swinging in, but not tearing down the Warp Lightning Cannon, which is of course going to run. And Summon's Rage have come crashing in on Lord Stroke. It does not look like he belongs to this well. It's a great play so far here. Really nice comeback by Piri Piri here, coming back swinging after that first loss. Let's have a little look around the battlefield. It does look like this is where all the action is going on. The more the Horsemen have been caught here by some Gutter Runners, and they're going to be slowly dragging those guys down. It looks like that Warp Lightning Cannon has been completely shattered now. The main fight is 3 of these units all being held up by one summoned unit, but now they're free, I'm sure they're going to be running in and helping out. Sparring Champions are just cutting through slaves and clown rats very easily. And over here, it does look like this very important game for this game. Even not lost fully, I mean, they did make the Emerald Traffic run away and scare off these Chaos Trolls, but they're just going to regenerate and come back to the away to they'll do a number over the back. I mean, they'll take some damage, but these guys are super. These chariots have come swinging in on the he's going to start breaking. He's still a rat at the end of the day. He's one of the most disgusting rats of all time and pretty resilient for a rat, but at the end of the day, he's still a rat, still low leadership. He's just popped on top of these Chaos Warriors and dropping a nice point of corruption. Oh, it looks like we do have a duel between the two generals here. My money is on the big belt. He is just flinging stroke all over the place, but he does. No, he's going to stick and fight, and he does start to make him rout. That's going to cause huge problems for the Skaven, and that power balance is now massively in favour of the Chaos, and it's only getting worse and worse. They still have this huge pocket of troops over here, who are just going to be cutting through Skaven nicely, especially when we get a big meaty charge here from the Summers of Rage, coming crashing in, and there's no way these are going to start turning town and running. It looks like this whole pocket has started to break. If we do an overarching view of the battlefield, there's a few Skaven units returning, but overall I think this is most likely game. Where is Scroll? Has he completely died yet? No, he could return, but with 282 health, I don't think it's long for the world. I mean, Puri could just, send this Pheromount for after and just finish him off, but it does look like he shatters, and that is going to be game. So that's really good. We've got a 1-1 for the first round there. We're going to be going into the final game. Great play between the two, and really impressive there. The comeback by Puri just smashed through that Skaven line. I was a little bit worried for him at the start, with the Nano Bobo Sharpshooters and the Dwarfin Menace. That might be able to ping down these elite warriors, but there was just so many. He went so heavy with the infantry, and it just crushed through. Great game, guys. Okay, and we'll flip onto the final map, which I believe is Crack Ungor. Which is quite an open map here. Let's see if they remember what matchup they've done. Skaven versus Greenskins. Yeah, that was it, I seem to remember. Now, how would I play Skaven versus Greenskins? Greenskins, I might actually go heavy Goblin. Go maybe get some Chevron up some Goblins and just try and swarm over the Skaven gun line that normally appears in this type of matchup. So let's say don't play this matchup really, so we'll see how it goes. Of course, this is a tournament, but it is called Death Before Dishonour, and the reason for that is it's all about the fun. I don't want anyone, to do any super kiting builds, anything too cheesy. It is just about the fun. There is no stakes, at least not now. If this, format works and people enjoy it, of course, we might start ending up adding in antes and a few more rules. But at the moment, it's just all for fun. I've spoken to all these guys beforehand. They're all really nice people. I've played up against a couple of them before, so I'm not really expecting any of that, nasty play. Ben the Bomber though, yeah, it's a battle of degenerates factions who just want to squabble, and that is the best type of fight that we want to see. I think Skaven versus Goblins actually happens quite a lot in the lore. Obviously, they both like living underground, and they're both fairly similar. The mass numbers, pretty cowardly, but both a little bit cunning and sneaky. But we'll have to find out who is the sneakiest. The Skaven, or is the cunning of Ben the Barman going to carry the day? So who's your money on? If you want to just pop down into the comment section and just let me know. I do have it up on my phone so I can see you guys. I see we've got a few people watching, which is very exciting. And yeah, welcome to my channel if this is the first time you've seen it. Just at the moment do Total War videos. So have, I think, one faction kind of helps and hints and tips video, which is the Wood Elves. And the rest is just my player battles at the moment. Obviously starting to add in some tournament play and got a few things up my sleeves. That's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. Skaven, I guess, from LM there. Yeah, no, Puri Puri, I mean, he came back hard in that second game, but I don't know. They're both fairly evenly matched, which is a really good kind of matchup. It's not too one-sided. And obviously, I've never seen these two fight each other before. I don't think they've ever fought each other before, so it's quite exciting to see how it all goes. Craig Ungor, I think, is just a pretty spacious map with not too much cover, but it will allow them to do, quite a lot of manoeuvring themselves. It looks like Ben is ready. Yeah, I agree, LM. I really don't like facing Skaven. I find them super scary. It's just getting on top of their back line. But then almost all players now just use rat ogres in the back line to protect it. So if you get your cav rounds and be all sneaky, they tend to just get stomped themselves. Oh, almost ready. There's no rush, dudes. His name is Puri Prisoner, it is true. He also goes by the name of Chaos. He seems to switch his name quite a lot, but he's a really nice guy, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, shout out to Ben the Barman actually as well. He really helps me kind of knowledge-wise of where to advertise as well, pin it up on the different discords and stuff. I'm just trying to get more people involved basically. I've seen there's quite a few different channels up at the moment. Why Otter, I believe, is the name of someone I found on there as well, so check out his channel. He runs 2-on-2 tournaments, which is super cool actually. I hadn't thought of doing that type of thing before. I don't really see those matchups happen at all, so he runs those tournaments fairly frequently, so I'd check him out if I was you guys. And also, someone I've been meaning to shout out for a long time is, I'll double check the name at the end, but I believe it's Orcora. They do Total War videos. They played one up against me. I'll drop a description in the description down below, or in the comments down below. I'll leave a link to this guy's channel. But he does a really good kind of breakdown of his tactics, why he did them, and plays the battles a lot more slower than I do, so you guys can actually see, 100% what's going on. And just explains, how to deal with different things. I believe he actually shows people how to deal with one of my Lizardmen death blobs, which was working really well beforehand. But now he's put that video out, who knows. But I'll leave a comment down below with all those guys, different YouTube channels. And if anyone watching has a YouTube channel, feel free to, plug yourself. So let's have a little look at Puri Puri's army right here. He has gone for the Skaven. So in the back line, he's got some Warplock Giselles, 2 units actually, not the Natty Bobu Sharpshooters, however. He's also gone for Clan Rats and Plague Monks. Looks like a big mixture. He's gone quite hardcore actually. Some Storm Vermin, a couple of units of Slaves in the front line as well. Hell Pit, 2 Hell Pit Abominations. These guys are going to cause absolute chaos if they don't get dealt with. 1 unit of Gutter Runner Slingers up top. An Assassin. Now I love using the Assassins. These guys are great. Huge DPS. He's super sneaky as well. And Lord Skroak. So Skroak has risen from his grave to once again fight. This time on the side of Puri Puri. That looks like the most of it. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a kind of standard turtle build from the Skaven, just with waves of slaves. But the centre is pretty hardcore with these Storm Vermin and Plague Monks. And 2 Hell Pits, that is going to be super nasty. Let's go have a little look at Ben the Barman's army himself. So he has actually gone what I think I would do. I know he's gone Orc Boys. Interesting, okay. So he's got the Warlord Boys over on this side, the Regiment Renowned Night Goblins. And then he's gone for a mixture of Goblins and Orc Boys in the centre. I mean, these guys, they're tear through slaves, just fine. They might struggle up against the Storm Vermin and so forth, though. Some Savage Orcs. Looks like some just normal Orc Araboy archers there. Kind of a big, weird, strange blob going on here. He might still be sorting out his deployment. A couple of units of Trolls. 3 units, in fact. I mean, they're going to be great in this matchup if they can get in. That's going to be a big problem for them. The Araboys, and let's see, he's got Snarsnick, what a hero! He's gone for the super sneaky Goblin himself. I've just realised what he's going to do. This is going to be fantastic. The Skarsnick does in fact have an ability, I believe. Let's have a look at him and see if we can get this in. Called Tricksy Trap. So all the speed of nearby troops increases, and they get stalked and unspottable. So these guys are going to be running forwards, all invisible, and not going to be able to be shot at by the Skaven gun line. That is some fantastic play there. There's also an Orc Shaman, and on the right-hand flank, it looks like we have, well, one more unit of Night Goblins, and a couple of units of Squig Herds, including the Regiment Renowned version. This is a very, very interesting army. It looks like he's actually deploying those Goblin Squigs in the back lines, and some Goblin Wolf Riders, Regiment Renowned. That is a super cool army. I'm really excited to see how this plays. Does he have a Goblin Shaman as well? Because I know they have a similar spell. No, it looks like he's going for the Orc Shaman. This is going to be super interesting, right? Good luck, have fun, guys. Let's go. And we're off. This is going to be so interesting. So let's see. He does pop it straight away there, the Tricksy Traps, and all of these people are currently invisible. Be a bit careful though that these trolls don't get out of range of it. But what's he going to shoot at now? I mean, he's marching up his army. The Warplock Giselles don't have really any targets at the moment. So let's see. So we do have the Moon Howlers coming from the flank, and also the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. So he is starting to close the net. It'd be really interesting to see how these trolls do as well, actually. But it looks like Tricksy Traps has worn off, so they are now all open. And what's he going to be targeting with his Giselles? It looks like the first shot does go in there against the trolls. Oh no, he is trying to target out Skarsnik, which isn't a bad shout. He's not the toughest of guys. He still is just a goblin. But he doesn't seem to be taking any damage there. No, he's taking out there. And the war has been popped. The front line has engaged, and these trolls have just ramshackled straight headlong into these Skaven slaves. And they're going to butcher these guys. I mean, that fear as well will start to break the front line. Now the Hellcat has charged in from the turn, and he's doing a bit of damage over these trolls as he gets one corruption. We do have the Giselle as well shooting in, and Skarsnik that damage is starting to mount now. He can be sniped out. You know, Skaven as well, but Greenskin leadership is very sketchy once their lord goes down. But it looks like in the back line, the trap has been sprung, and all these Vanguard units are running in on top of these Warlock Giselles. So there's some Storm Vermin who have started to rally backwards, try and deal with this, and the Moon Howlers have taken quite a bit of damage. And in the front line we do have Stroke. He's been pummeled a little bit by some trolls here, but the rival Tide Cousin has gone down. Minus 44% melee attack, that is huge. And this Hellcat is just slowly stomping his way through people. Now the other one in the back is taking a huge amount of damage just from this little female squad for Arabians. Snarsnik is still taking, constant fire. Well played by Puri Puri there. Keep making sure his Warplock Giselle is still in line, even though there's all this backline harass. It looks like for the most part he has managed to clear up the back line. There's still this one unit Squigs running the back, which can cause all kinds of problems. Unfortunately, these Giselles seem to be super inaccurate today. That first couple of volleys didn't seem to do much damage, and Snarsnik is just cheering right now. He doesn't care, he can take the damage. It's a really nasty pocket of Orc strength here, and it is starting to head power balance into their favour. The Skaven are rallying on kind of all fronts. Skork's just running around the middle of the battlefield here, trying to get into an anti-tank position. Great catch here. Looks like he's managed to catch the Orc Shaman, and the assassin throws his head down on him as well. You can see the assassin doing all kinds of cool flips and tricks. He's going to be cutting this out. He's managed to take quite a lot of damage there, but a big gold chunk goes down there. The Hellcat does run it. So where is the other Hellcat? There he is, over here. Looks like he's completely surrounded, just trying to stomp his way through as many savage orcs as possible to get back to this main fight. Really need to take down Skarsnik if they want a chance of winning, as most of the battle is kind of going against them, it would seem. Over here, they've got a bit of pocket strength around Lord Skrog, but he's up against Regiment Renowned Night Goblins, so he won't fight them. A ton of the slaves do just start to run off there. It does look quite bleak now. Most of them have started to break off. And I mean, this Orc Arab boys, they're not, the most accurate of gits in the universe, but with that amount of firepower coming in, they're going to be able to do some serious damage to these Hellcats. And I mean, the trolls are also pretty good counter against as well with like constant damage. Even Skarsnik, I mean, he's got level 26 there. He is doing that anti-large count. Hellcat is starting to struggle. Looks like Puri is trying to rally a little bit in the centre. So two Hellcats either side of Skrog there, which is trying to drop as many debuffs as possible. Looks like the Moon Howlers have caught onto his Warplock Giselles, and there's no way these guys are coming back. These guys are gone. I'm afraid they're going to be chased off the battlefield. There's no way Ben the Barman is going to let them get away. In the back line, he's actually doing a fantastic job here of chasing off all these Skaven units with these Night Goblin Hoppers as well. The Skaven, they constantly come back, and it's just worth chasing them off with these damaged, kind of weaker units. And it is looking rather bleak right now for the Skaven, I mean, they still have their little fairly healthy. And he has managed to break a unit of trolls. He needs to make sure he chases them down. And Snarsnake, in fact, has been sniped out. He only has 562 health. And if he can drag him down, but it looks like one of the health hits has gone down. In fact, both have gone down. They didn't get that fat regen. If they'd got that regen and managed to snipe out Snarsnake, you never know. They might have found to Terracause it. But very well played to both competitors there. And Ben the Barman goes down to round 2 of a 2v1. So very close first round there. Let's just say good game to the guys. So quick little look at chat here. Don't worry, LM, people can't stream snipe because it is a bit delayed. So what you're seeing is a little while afterwards. Yeah, so Fish, you're right there. There's quite a bit of lag afterwards where they won't be able to actually see, so no one can stream snipe at all, which is quite good. And yes, Skarsnik with that sneaky play, I really like it. Nice, sneaky. Cool, so one jumped up there. Let's just send some invites. So let's get Ninja in here. And sorry Ben, we're going to kick you for now. Ooh. And let's get Console of Roman. I'll just shoot them a quick message on Discord as well. I mean, I think they're watching the stream, so they should know when we're going to play, but... Oh, looks like Ninja Penguin is in. Let's just get Console of Roman. So say what to Ninja. You guys have seen Ninja on the channel before if you're familiar with my channel. I think we've actually played 4 times on the channel. Yo, dude. Oh. The password. So yeah, Ninja Penguin has been on the channel a couple of times. We actually did a subscriber series with him where I played 3 games against him. And we played some games recently, so you'll be sure to see a couple of replays up against him soon. Hey, and it looks like Hansel is in. I believe the first matchup is Wood Elves versus Dwarfs, which is an interesting one. As there's a few ways you can play this as Wood Elves. I mean, it can be quite tough for Dwarfs, but they've got all the armor, they've got the shooting back, so it'd be interesting to see how they guys play this. I'll just tell them to ready up whenever they're good to go. Yeah, there's the useful thing about the spectator mode as well. I can choose when to start the battle. And let's actually remember to change the map as well. This is something I always used to forget all the time. So I believe... Let's have a little look for it. Might be down. Where yeah. There we go. Sword of Torgold is the first map today. So all these maps, yeah, predetermined, they know that they're coming. Alright, just all good lucks and have fun. That's good. Yeah, Council is playing in this, Tristan, man. He is playing. I see that he's your boy, so you've got a big supporter in her Council of Rome. It's nice to see a little bit of support from him in her. It looks like Ninja is just picking his army here. Also, so Ninja's one of the people I played against as well before, as well as Piri Piri. So I think I have a little bit of an inkling of what he's going to bring. He's not actually... I believe this is his first ever tournament. Hasn't played much competitive play before. So, you know, it'd be interesting. I think he might bring some off-meta builds, which might catch a couple of people off guard who, you know, are used to playing against the traditional armies. Yes, good luck, have fun. Sweet, sweet. Let's start it up then. Whereas Consul of Rome, I believe this is his second tournament, so best of luck to both these guys. And, you know, I feel like whoever wins this might be a bit of an underdog coming into the finals. Might have a bit of a David and Goliath situation, considering these guys are, you know, a little bit more new to the tournament scene, whereas the other two had played a few, I believe, themselves. No worry, Tristan, man. I know you said you kind of bummed you didn't sign up to the tournament. I can get you in for the next one, man. We're probably going to do this every couple of weeks. You know, if this is a success, and it looks like people are enjoying it. And I've enjoyed hosting, actually. These guys have made it super easy to manage. I'm not the best normally with kind of managing stuff like this and getting people together, but all four of the players have been super easy to cooperate with, and you know, they've all turned up on time. Can't ask for anything more. So, Sword of Torgal. It's a strange map. It's kind of got the big dip in the middle. I think it favours more defensive builds. If you can force your opponent to have to walk up this dip, just down here in this little trench. I mean, it's quite a large map as well, though, so there's plenty of, you know, opportunity just to, if someone wants to bulk down and sit here, where, you know, really hardcore line with some shooting, you can just walk around, so that's an even playing field. And let's pray for zero lag, as these guys haven't played each other before. I've played against Ninja and had no problems before, so we'll have to wait and see. Let's have a little look at the chat. Okay, everything looks all good. We've got a couple of people in here watching, which is really good, and hopefully we've also got the two guys who just played in here, giving a little bit of support, and maybe a little, you know, spying a little bit, seeing what tactics the others bring. Just looks like we're having a little time loading in here, but hopefully it should be all good. I haven't played on this map too much myself, but I've seen it used a lot in tournaments. I kind of went around, viewed a few different tournaments, seeing what they were bringing, and their kind of reason behind it. And, you know, just kind of chose those maps, which I thought were mostly even. So let's have a little look at the Wood Elf build here. So the Ninja Pinbin, he has in fact gone for Durfu, the big beast himself. He looks just an angry dude. I believe he does himself have a lot of beef with the dwarves, so this should be quite good. He's be coming in with a Sword of Dave, which should actually do some pretty decent, you know, damage, and it's minus 30 armor, which is great. He does have as well the Firebark Elders, the regiment around Shrieking, immune to fire, and give everyone else around them a bit of immunity. And a lot of Dryads. These guys are damage dealers, but they do magic damage, I believe, which isn't going to be so good against the dwarfs, who do have that constant magic resist. We have some units of Wild Riders. It looks like just two. Let's have a little look-see. Yeah, just two of those. And he's got a bit of an air force. He's got 2 units of Hawk Riders here, who do have armor-piercing, you know, melee, I believe. So if they can get some rear attacks, they can do some decent work. There is also a Branch Wraith in here. Looking for another caster. So this little very angry lady can do some decent stuff herself. Let's have a little look. The Wyvern for another minus 30 chance. They stack those together. Minus 60. That is some huge damage they can do there. Really allow those Dryads to cut through. And an Earthblood. So very interesting army. Let's go have a little look at the Dwarfs for Council of Rome. So, hardcore front line of Ironbreakers and Longbeards. These guys are crazy cool, the Ironbreakers. I love this unit myself. And then you get to throw some satchel charges, which can do some decent damage. He's then gone for a backup line of Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. And on the flanks, let's see, just a couple of units of Dwarf Warriors. So very, very wide build. In the back, one more Longbeards, one Miners guarding a Grudge Thrower, which I love the Grudge Thrower pick in this matchup. It can do a surprise amount of damage up against Wood Elves. A couple of units of Slayers and a couple of units of Thunderers. So very interesting build. Let's have a little look over here at... just a basic Lord. Okay, just basic Lord. So let's get these guys underway. Looks like they have started. Good to go. It all looks like there's a little bit of chat, but all in good faith. It looks like they're all good to go. Let's take that down. And I mean, they're both going to have to attack fairly soon. Should have gone with cannon. Cool. Maybe just checking each other's army out at the moment. And it does look like Chancellor Rome has started to move forwards. And Ninja Kingpin will shortly as well, once he, has done checking out this rather large dwarf army. But yeah, going wide against Wood Elves, very good play. Ironbreakers are going to be super tanky to take down. With those armor debuffs, you never know. It looks like the Hawk Riders are leading the charge here. The rest of the army does start to plod along behind. Very nicely themed army here. Wonder what these Hawk Riders are actually going to go for as well for their first target. I believe, let's have a little double check. We've got armor piercing melee, but I don't think they have the best armor piercing range attacks. It looks like the Grudge Throw does send a few shots in, and it is coming after these Dryads there. Looks like the Dwarfs are trying to race up on top of this. Oh no, they're holding their line down in the trench, which is an interesting play, but I mean, it will allow the Dwarf Lords of Great Weapons to charge down in afterwards as well. You can see some huge damage already gone down on these Hawk Riders, who are trying to be sneaky and sneak around the back, assuming they're going to be trying to shut down this Grudge Thrower. These Thunderers, ever watchful, are moving and shooting. I guess that does stop them from shooting this front line. Trying to see if there's any added sneakiness, and it is. It looks like the Wild Riders are around the back of the Dwarf army. These guys could just come crushing in and do some serious damage to these Grudge Throwers. But it does look like the Slayers have been careful, and some dwarf geometry going on. The best type of geometry, good old, not a dwarf box completely, more a rectangle here. This front line is getting ready to crush in, and they do a decent amount of damage, especially if he drops both those debuffs down on the Ironbreakers, and then just trying to ram his way through. But getting into a pit fight against dwarves when they have these gunners on top of the hill could be very dangerous. So it looks like the Wild Riders have crashed into the back line, and they've just torn these miners apart. They're going to break them up quite easily. And this Grudge Thrower, and it looks like they're trying to back out just before these Slayers get involved. The Hawk Riders are swooping around. Huge damage coming from the Ironbreakers though on this unit of Dryads. Although it looks like part of that maybe was down to the Grudge Thrower as well. And they're going to be charging downhill into the fray. So those miners have been broken off, and the Slayers are going to the front line. These Grudge Throwers are completely bare. Ninja Kingpin really needs to just charge in him with the Wild Riders, or just shut this down as soon as possible and get some backline harass going in. Looks like there's a big Earth Flood going down as it does charge into the fray, but these Ironbreakers are super tough. They do have the Curse of an Ear drop on them though. And it looks like the Wyvern has gone down as well, making a little bit nervous. Hundreds through. Just starts slapping up dwarves left, right and centre. Hawk Riders are trying to focus up the Slayers, which is a pretty damn decent choice. And these Wild Riders really need to come back and shut down these Thunderers and Grudge Throwers. Try and get in that back line. I mean, this front line is going to be tough. I mean, the 5 Arc Elders, they're going to do decent against Ironbreakers. The Ironbreakers don't seem to be having too much damage back to these guys. Durfur does look like he's trying to hunt down that Lord there. We do have the Wyvern upgraded. Still down, minus 30 armor, minus 8 HP. Let's have a look. Dryads aren't doing too bad against Ironbreakers, but now the debuffs are going down. I think they're going to struggle. They do have quite a big pocket there. If you manage to catch that Dwarf Lord, you can drag him down, you never know. Let's have a little look at the back line. Grudge Thrower has been completely shattered, so very good play there. The Slayers just keep coming back, and they're just going to be protecting these Thunderers. As long as these Thunderers are online, they are just going to blitz into this front line while these Dwarfs hold and tear it apart. I mean, Durfu, yes, he's got buffs down on him. Maybe he managed to kill this Dwarf Lord. The Dwarf Lord, even the basic one, is super tanky. The whole time, he's just being peppered with shots. Those gunners really need to get shut down now. I would even just chuck those Hawk Riders into combat just to try and stop this shooting. Because he's about to go down. As soon as he goes down, I cannot see this front line surviving much longer. Wild Riders are idle at the moment. Probably just trying to pick a target. I mean, they probably should just wrap around now, as they're not going to be able to punch through these Slayers very easily. Durfu is running for the hills. Let's have a look at how much health he has. And he is down. The great tree that's going crashing down. Shot in the back by the Dwarfs. And the Dwarfs, obviously, that is one grudge settled. So it is looking very bleak for the Wood Elves now. The entire front line is starting to crumble. And this big old mosh pit of Dwarfs is very healthy still. I like the idea of stopping the armor by 60 with those 2 different debuffs, but it just wasn't enough for this amount of Dwarfs, and the constant fire from Thunderers really did cause a lot of problems. It looks like that is going to be game. The power balance is massively in the Dwarf's favour. Let's see what's left alive. Got a couple of Wild Riders, so it looks like we're just trying to flee from some Slayers, but apart from that, there is these big bad nasty boys here, but they're just not going to do enough damage. They're going down, and leadership's starting to waver, and as soon as they're gone, that is going to be game. Wild Riders come in for one last, valiant charge on top of the Slayers. They're punting dwarfs all the way down the hill. Because, that's the kind of best type of dwarf there. And this guy almost charged in Thunders, but just about stops. It looks like they have been caught up on the Slayers, and that is not where they need to be. These Thunderers are just going to unload shots into them. I don't think there's anything he can do here. I mean, he does have a bit of rallying troops here in the Branch Wraith, but he just doesn't have enough left. There's just no way to pull this back from this point, I don't think. I mean, maybe, shut down the Thunderers is your best chance here.
Protect us!
And he has dropped down a nerf bod on these guys, but 2 units of Wild Riders just, what's it going to do? Against this tightly packed dwarf formation right here. There's just not too much. Looks like some Hawk Riders over on the side have actually rallied, but this unit here did the same. As soon as they came back, do start to break just from the massive thunder fire. The Branch Wraith is just kind of standing here, eating shots right now. Let's see what's left holding the centre. More explosions coming down there. Just 1 unit drives holding the centre. And the Wild Riders, it looks like one has been beaten off. The other is getting dragged down here by Slayers, Dwarf Warriors, and Wolves.
Flee, foolish
But the
dwarf.
Wood Elves do keep rallying, surprisingly. I thought they would have shattered by now just due to army losses. But, they're rallying. Fair play to them. They're up for a scrap. They keep coming back. But no, this unit has routed. This one's just about re-routed from the crossfire from the Thunderers. There we go. And it looks like everything, that is army losses, and everything is gone. So very well played there to Council of Rome and Ninja, and it's 1-0 to Council. I hope you're watching, Ben. That's what you're up against next, so I hope that's got you shaking in your boots. So let's see what their second matchup was, and I'll sort out the map. It looks like, let's have a little look down here to see if I can find the maps. Oh, don't know why I went that way. There we go, we have Pillar of Bone up next. It looks like Council of Rome is going Empire, and let's wait and see what Ninja's going. Oh, High Elves, well, so it looks like he's a big fan of the Elf factions. You take High Elf now, right? Yeah. Just ready up when ready. Yeah, sorry for the old the nose there. I am rather ill still, which kind of sucks. Make me proud, Council. Yes, he is, Tristan. He's doing this exactly for you. Drive's not good because magic damage. Yeah, I know, Ben. That's the problem with them. They really do struggle. I like the idea of getting rid of the armor, but I don't know. Maybe going with the what are those rangers called? The one with the 2-handed swords. I mean, if you can protect them, they can tear up dwarves. The way of armor looks like it did a little bit. I like the idea of it, but it was always going to struggle there. Yeah, Hawk Riders. I feel they're underpowered as well. Briggsy. They just don't do enough damage. The AP and melee is nice. So you're right there. Yeah, small Dowie Stomp Stomp. I'm a big fan of Dowie myself. But yeah, the lack of AP there, Wind of Death, that Dowie blob would be nice. That's true. But yeah, unfortunately for Ninja, there's just not enough AP. Coming up against that many dwarfs, you do really need to punch through. I like the idea though. I like the idea of trying flanking you and going with that massive, armor debuff. So it looks like Tristan is in here supporting Council, and we did have someone earlier as well in Piri Piri. So do we have anyone? Do we have a fan for Ben the Barman in here as well? Try and get some fans up for that final fight. Looks like Council is ready. We're just waiting on Ninja. Pretty cool map. Pretty balanced as well, I think. I mean, all the maps are today. We've gone for a couple of fun ones as well in the final round. Up in the finals, we've got a couple of cool maps. It'll be interesting to see how our competitors play against them. But for now, just Pillar of Bone on this one, and if this one obviously goes to one more game. Oh, looks like Ninja is in fact ready. Oh, check. Yep, they're both ready up. Let's get going. See if Ninja can pull a peri-peri and, you know, strike back hard in game 2 and force it to go to the full 3-match series. And Briggsy, to answer your question, yes, this is going to be uploaded straight away afterwards, just as a normal video, so you can come back and watch it whenever you fancy, man. And Tristan, yes, I'd love a Lizman main. I actually main Lizman myself. They're my favourite faction by far. I used to play them on tabletop back in the day. Used to take a Saurus on a Carnosaur just because it was awesome. I mean, everyone else took Slans. But, you know, what's more awesome than dinosaurs riding dinosaurs just tearing up everything in their way? But yeah, man, this is probably going to happen again most likely in 2 weeks, possibly 3 weeks. And again, I'll put out the advert on this channel first. And then after that, I'll put the advert out in the different Discords and so on. So let's have a little look. So if we have a little look at Ninja's army right here, let's see what he's gone for this time. He has 3 units of Lothran's Sea Guard, which I quite like against the Empire. I mean, that just constant fire into lightly armored troops is always good, and it's quite tough to, well, when you do flank them, at least they can fight back. Some spearmen in the front lines, just cheap chaff to hold people back. A couple of units of Silverhelms. Up in the sky, a Flamespire Phoenix. This little awesome pigeon can drop all kinds of nasty stuff, like some big fire poos down. And we'll probably be able to do some fairly, you know, decent amount of work. We do have a Mage of Light in here with Net, Brightness Tone Warp, and Fast Protection. That Time Warp could be really useful on this big blob and help them carve through, you know, chaff. And we have Tyrion on his horse with his big old flaming sword, who's just a menace. He can pretty much take down any Empire Lord. He can struggle against Karl Franz if he's up on his big, you know, nasty monster. Now let's go have a little look at Cancel's army here. So he does have the Hellblaster Volley Gun. I have never seen this used. So this is going to be interesting to see. Loving this pick. Frontline, Sigma's Sons and Great Swords, Spearmen, more Great Swords. That's actually going to be a lot of damage, these Great Swords, as long as they don't get targeted by this Lothran Sea Guard. Then just Spearmen and Halberds for days all over the place by the looks of it. A couple of unit of handgunners in the middle, including the silver... Oh, let's go back. The silver bullets here, who do a ton of work. As he's just rearranging his army. He does have an Arch-Lector in the front line. Interesting, okay. This guy seems to be being picked a bit more recently, you know, recent weeks. Drops all his little buffs down. Let's see what he has. I haven't actually used him too much. He does have Grand Soulfire, Grand Shield of Faith, and the Grand Hammer of Sigma. Also, Benediction, just a little bit extra leadership. And he has, in fact, gone for a Jade Wizard as well. Looks like with just some healing. So let's get this underway. It's going to be quite an interesting matchup. And we do have some Demigryph Knights hidden here in the trees. Any nasty sneakiness going on? Doesn't look like it. Looks like the armies are just kind of in 2 blobs. And it looks like the Helves are going to be advancing up. The Hellblaster Volley Gun. The Empire player does need to start attacking soon though. So the rules of our tournament is that both players must be attacking. It's all cool though to have like a little look at your opponent's army first. It does look like he's repositioned and the Hellblaster is now shooting. Doing some early shots. It's doing a little bit of damage to that Flamespire Phoenix. A little bit of poke. I haven't seen this used, so if anyone wants to, you know, tell me down in the comments, you know, why this is, if it's a good weapon or a bad weapon. I just don't see it, and I don't really play Empire. I normally see people just kind of take cannons and so forth. But it is doing some decent first shots there, and it's actually tearing up these Spearmen pretty damn bad. They've lost a couple of models, I believe. Yeah, they've lost 6 models there.
The omens are good, brothers!
And serious amount of HP damage. Looks like the Silverhelms are going the long way around. They're trying to get in on a flank. Little does he know, though, what awaits him in the woods. These Demigryphs are just going to tear those Silverhelms apart if they manage to catch them. And that initial fight is doing a ton of damage, actually, going into these Lothran Sea Guard as well. The Lothran Sea Guard are now in range, and they're just going to start peppering. They really need to start targeting these Great Swords. Although getting down the Silver Bullets as well is also a good shout, forcing them backwards, so I quite like that play. And that is in fact forcing the Empire player forward. So he's going to be rushing forward. Silverhelms have got around the flank. They haven't spotted the Demigryphs yet, I don't think. So they're now available. Has he seen them? Let's see they're going to be charging in.
They
Let's see
could
if
not
Ninja
hide.
can react in time. Looks like they do just about manage to run away last second. A few of them are going to get caught, but most of the damage has been avoided by the looks of it. Looks like a big Sun Fang did go down, but was a little bit of a swing and a miss there. That could have done some huge damage here. I would have waited personally till they were actually in combat, so it's much harder for them to dodge. And it looks like the Lothran Sea God are starting to tear up these handgunners quite nicely, including the Fame's Fire Phoenix. But you also be a bit careful. He's got Knights charging on him and those halberds. Front line has started to engage, and these great swords are going to start doing some serious damage. Spearmen, there's no elite high elf infantry here to hold them back. And these archers really start putting their weight. Let's fire up. It's going to be a real struggle for them to make damage. But great play here, bringing the Silver Helms in the back, getting some nice rear charges in. But actually, they need to start cycle charging these guys. They're just being constantly dodged by these demigriffs. And that's going to stop him. If he's allowed to just cycle charge these Silver Helms into this back line and really start breaking up these great swords, this army could stand a chance. But great play here by Council, hunting them down with the demigriffs and just making them just constantly have to run. He really needs to split these two guys up. But one does manage to hop onto the silver bullets there. Looks like the Phoenix is just starting to waddle away as it does. The front line is got a Brightness Time Warp on it for these Spearmen, which has upped their melee attack by 26. But even still, I mean, it makes them do a bit more damage, but they're still going to struggle. However, Tyrion has managed to catch the Arc Collector here. He can just fight his way through that a little bit more. He's laying absolute wood on the guy. He's not the toughest of people. It looks like he wants to take the fight though. He has come down and refilled himself, so I mean, he's a braver man than I am. So, yeah, I would not want to go close to Tyrion. And the elves are actually holding surprisingly well. I think the great swords have cut through a bit quicker. But they are all still pretty healthy. This is very dangerous for Ninja right here. He needs to take out that Arch Lector. And in the back line, it looks like those Silver Helms were caught by the demigriffs. They tried to sneak onto these Silver Helms. And they've just been pinned between Spearmen, demigriff Knights, and his Empire Knights. They look like a lost cause to me. The Flameside Phoenix is trying to hop on top of the Jade Wizard. It'd be nice to shut down that healing. As you can see, the Archlector's being killed almost up to full health. So it's probably very frustrating for Tyrion there. But, I mean, this fire is going to keep coming in. Including the Hellblast volley guy if it wants to. It looks like it's fine for the mass block there. And they're going to be able to just shoot down this Phoenix. But he has, it looks like he might manage to break the Jade Wizard with one more good hit there. But there's so many nasty units back here for demigriffs. I mean, even the Knights can pin him in place. Guns just shoot him down. And it's just back to this kind of slow grind on the front line. Do have some more battle prayers going down and a grand soul fire. And I think the mass mosh pit really does favour Arch-Electra's style of play here. I mean, yes, the bonus time warp can come down, but it's just not going to be enough. Big Sun Fan coming down here. This could decimate these great swords. Comes down there and a massive hit there. Great rear charge as well. Like 2-1 combo there with Silver Helm. They do manage to break this stem, and it looks like the Halberds might break. Great swords took a huge amount of damage. So Ninja is not going down without a fight here. Over the Empire Knights are now into the fray, and they're just going to start charging from the back of the Silver Helm, killing them. But I mean, there's so much stuff left back here. He really needs to push some of these units up. I know he wants to protect his Hellblast volley gun, but at this stage, I would just move these gunners up, get far into this blob, move up the Hellbirds, and there's a few units of demigriffs who are just idle at the moment, and these spearmen over here, including the Jade Wizard, get these guys back into the main fight. They are starting to buckle a bit in the middle here. Looks like 3 units have started to run. On the right hand side, the greatswords are carving a nice path through. Tyrion just cannot do enough damage to that Arch-Elector. With all his buffs coming down and the healing, he is standing strong. There's a couple units in the back forgotten by Ninja as well. That could be useful getting back in here, maybe getting a rear charge with his greatswords. Tyrion does give up fighting, you know, the most annoying Arch-Elector of all time in his opinion. Damage back. It looks like this higher bundle is starting to break though, as this back line does push up. Mage going for a last desperate attempt there and just punting the Arch-Elector flying. So unfortunately for Ninja, he is out the tournament, and very well played to Council of Rome there. Great little build. 106 kills on Tyrion was pretty decent, but that just wasn't enough. We got 160 kills on these great swords. There wasn't enough just to overpower them. Tried his best against that back line, but couldn't quite bring it down. So well played to both of these guys here. And let's get Ben back in here. Hope he's ready for the finals. It's going to be super exciting. Get Consul of Rome just to stay in here. And Ben the Barman is back in. It is indeed final times, Ben, if you just want to hop on now. I will send you an invite. I believe these guys haven't decided matchups. Obviously, they didn't know they're going to be in the finals against each other. So we can either do gentleman's agreement or pick and ban, whatever they want. And I will sort out the maps. I've actually been quite impressed. I thought I would forget the maps. I do this every time I play multiplayer. And I forget, but it looks like up first we are on Oak Road. Cool, they're just exchange a little bit. I'll let them decide and see who's going to go what. Who do you guys want to see in the final? Is there anyone who's going to be the people's champion today? I really liked, I believe it was Ben the Barman actually brought Snarsnake. I love Snarsnake and all the little goblin builds. Super sneaky there actually with the tricksy traps. Really nice to see that played. It's actually a really good tool to use against Skaven. Let them know it's pick a ban or... Looks like neither of them are too fast. You want gentleman's agreement or pick and ban? I'll let them call it out. So while they're just deciding the matchup, let me know who do you guys think is going to win this. I have no idea actually. So it's both quite interesting opponents. They both brought some pretty cool builds. It'd be interesting to see. I do not know. I just don't know. I've never faced either of these two either. I actually faced the other two previously. So these are the two wild cards for me. Cool, let's just sign up right now. Just going through what they would and would like to face. Looks like they can do a gentleman's agreement, which is nice. The main thing obviously about these tournaments, apart from just having fun, is the main thing that, you know, allow people to be invited back is just if they're easy to deal with, you know, they don't argue or anything, and they just sort things out between one another. I mean, if they couldn't decide matchups, pick and ban's completely fine, if they're happy with that. Looks like Ben the Barman is going Norska by the looks of it though. I quite like Norska as well actually. Got some really fun builds. I'm a big fan of the is it Famir? I want to call them the big old werewolves. Werewolves in general are pretty badass. So, is that a Norska health build? That could be quite cool. Oh, Tristan, you missed the end of the last one. It was Council of Rome managed to win it. So they are through to the finals. So this is the finals now. It's still best of 3. And they're just doing gentleman's agreement right now to decide what the picks are going to be. Yes, Tristan, hell yeah, your boy's done it, he's got through to the final. And of course, whoever does win will be welcomed back for the next time we do this tournament to try and, you know, hold on to their title. Everything is so expensive, yeah. High elves in general are super expensive. They had that problem on tabletop as well. Like, all the small elite units were super cool and thematic, but they just cost so much. I had a friend who ended up taking one to a tournament, but he just went big old blob of Lothran Sea Guard. and just made them super tanky. And then I think he had a wizard on a dragon as well. He had all sorts of stuff. He was really good at it. But it looks like console is ready. So whenever Ben ready's up, we're good to go. I haven't played Norsca in a while. Sure, fine. Seems like a good player. So it looks like we're up into the 75-minute mark. So we're on time. I was going to try and keep the whole thing underneath 2 hours, which looks like we're plenty on time at the moment. I suppose it depends how many games this one goes to. Yeah, this is only Consul of Rome's second tournament, and he's got to the finals, so very well played to him so far. And Ben the Barman, I've seen very active on top of the Discords, which is all good. The Discords are really cool, actually. I only recently got into computer gaming. I normally just use a console, but I eventually splashed out, bought a big gaming PC, and it's actually really cool to see how the Discords, all work. And how they managed to kind of, form their own communities, which is actually really dope. And, I mean, I think when the big companies actually see these communities and see what people do, and there's a lot of people in the Total War community, like Turin or Lawmaster of Sotek, or Professor Pone, all these kind of big YouTubers, and they can see those guys play and how they dictate the play and how important things like multiplayer is, which is really cool because I love multiplayer in this game. Definitely my favourite for Total War, because there's just so much variety, there's so much you can do. So hopefully, with Total War Warhammer 3, probably not in the too distant future, they might, maybe add a little bit more funding into multiplayer a little bit, just make it a little bit more expansive. Cool, looks like the boys are ready. Let's get this underway. Pretty cool map, very snowy. There's this big hill on the left hand side and a big hill in the middle. But overall, not too bad. There's a nice little ship as well in the distance. It looks pretty cool. I have no idea how they managed to crash all the way up here. But that's probably Norskans for you trying something a bit crazy. Looks like it's a very quick loading time as well, which is all good. Let's have a little quick look at Ben the Barman's army first. So he does have, looks like a lot of marauders, as you would expect. He's backing up here. So he does have... Let's start with his lord over here. So he has a Marauder Chieftain up on a chariot. Very interesting, going quite cheap. Chariots are very good. Obviously, very micro-intensive, I find. I tend to get them killed, unfortunately. If you let them get stuck, they get dragged down. But if they constantly move, bounce between combats, they can do a ton of damage. We do have a Shaman Sorcerer of Death. Looks like we've got Spirit Leech and one other spell down here. Fate of Juno, which is a huge spell. Very expensive, but can do a ton of damage. In the back, we do have a lot of Marauder Horsemen as well. And a lot of Northern Warhounds, including some Ice Wolves, which are going to be very good. So going for a lot of backline harass here. Now for the front line, he has gone for very cheap Marauders, and more Marauders into the sunset by the looks of it. Some Ice Wolves there as well. Now in the back, he's got a couple of Marauder Champions. These guys are going to be a bit more hard-hitting. They'll be able to tear up, medium kind of level infantry. And he also has the Icehorn Marauders Regiment Renowned. I do not know these guys, I don't think. This is going to be interesting. I've seen a different Regiment Renowned version, I thought. Maybe I'm thinking of the champions. They do have standard rage, immune psychology, perfect vigor. That is nice, and we find perfect for the whole battle. So very nice build there, gone very wide up against this army here. I love the colour scheme in this army, actually. Very cool. I've only seen the High Elves play traditionally or Nagarifi. Looks like he has some silver helms over in the distance, being rather sneaky. A couple of units of spearmen. One unit of Phoenix Guard, just mass spearmen actually for the most part. And in the middle, Sisters of Avalon times 3, including the Regiment Renowned version. So these guys are going to be doing his heavy lifting for him, with the spearmen just try and hold everything else back. Does have Tessalus as well, or Teclis, up on his little horse here. Let's see what he's got. Ugh. He has Net of Amantalk, Flaming Sword of Rome, which is going to be very good. Potion of Terror, and also the other big fire one. So I think we're good to go. Also has a Handmaiden of the Everqueen in there. Let's let them know. Let's go. It's going to be interesting to see how this is played. Oh, there's also some Mist Stalkers hiding over here in the trees that I did not spy earlier. These guys could crunch through some Spearmen. I mean, the Spearmen are still anti-large, however, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Marauders will start to carve up the Spearmen, but that is a lot of big firepower coming in from the Sisters of Avalon. It looks like we have a little bit of lag, but hopefully it should normalise. They loaded in super quick, so I'm hopeful. Looks like it is kind of sorting itself out a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. All the horsemen are getting shot at currently by Sisters, and one of them has been netted by Teclis. Great play here. These guys can take a huge amount of damage now. Like, it's just ridiculous. If you get a net drops on you and there's this much firepower, I do a similar thing with Way Watchers. I mean, some of them are covered by the trees, however, but I don't know. These guys are almost going to be certainly down to half health and probably running off, but they should come back. Over in the distance, it looks like there is a catch over here, and a very nice catch here by Ben. He's managed to get the Mist Stalkers on top of these Silver Helms, and they're going to tear these guys apart. He really needs to pull these guys back. They're being chased down by the Hounds, who are Ice Wolves as well, so they're going to be slowing these guys down. They have a Fate of Unit on them as well. These guys are gone. There's a big loss straight away there. All his mobility has been completely destroyed. These Marauders will carve up these Spearmen, so it's all about the defensive game now. Console really needs to protect these Sisters and hope they carry their weight. In the back, it does look like those Marauders did run away, but they've just about rallied. This other unit isn't too bad, but they took quite a lot of damage here. These Hounds are just going to be looking for any opportunity to get into that back line. Yep, those Silver Homes do completely shatter off, and the encirclement is starting to happen. He's going to completely wrap around both flanks by the looks of it. He needs to bring these horses back in, though. I mean, there's not too many good times for them. So the Marauders, the original round version, do charge headlong into these Spearmen, but they're taking a ton of Overwatch fire coming in from these original renowned Sisters of Avalon and the normal units. But those Marauders are hitting them from all angles now, coming in and starting to crump on these Spearmen. The Marauders are cheap, but you know, Spearmen will hold the line for a long time against them. They won't win that fight. At least I don't think they do. I'm pretty sure Marauders, especially because they're rage mechanic, but they get stronger the more they fight, they should be able to win this. And it looks like more horsemen have forced their way through this gap, and are a great play there by Ben. And the Hounds are in the back, so this back line is starting to be compromised. There still is the Phoenix Guard though in the back line who can help protect, and this is going to become one slow slugger. Where is Wolf? Question. He's just hanging out at the moment on his chariot. Not too many good targets, I suppose, on his Spearmen, but more Hounds coming in the back, and as long as they keep rolling through the Spearmen, they should be fine. Spirit Leech does look like it popped down there on Teclis, who did also drop his potion, and he's trying to heal himself up. He was getting bullied a little bit by the Shady Sorcerer of Death there. It looks like these Mist Stalkers and other unit of Familiar Warriors are coming in to fray. Front line isn't going too badly for High Elves considering. I mean, over here these Marauders are getting beaten back, and in the centre they've managed to trade fairly effectively against these Regiment Rounds unit, who is obviously going to be rather expensive. The Horsemen are having to run away, and the back line pressure is starting to crumble a bit. These Hounds are being forced backwards. In the Sisters of Avalon, yes, they're a ranged troop, but they fight super good in combat. I've had Wild Riders going up against them. If you do not cycle charge, they will stand there and tank that all day. But it looks like the Familiar are pushing back.
All is chaos!
There has been an overcast net here, hitting so many units in place. The Familiar are trying to break into the back line, plus this chariot, and now being caught by this Phoenix Guard. Fantastic play there, really great net by Cancel. Front line looks like is just trying to drive his way through these Spearmen, just try and break them off, let these troops get into the back line, but they're finding it pretty tough. The net has worn off and these Mist Stalkers are charging in, but now they're up against Phoenix Guard rather than the Sisters of Avalon, which is not where they want to be. Over on this flank, of course, Marauders are 3-on-1 in these Spearmen, but the Spearmen are doing their job, they're just holding them in place. That's all they need to do, and let these guys do the heavy lifting. Still a lot of Marauders left though. I'm not sure who's got this yet, guys. I'm not sure. The power balance is still dead even by the looks of it. And there's still a lot of hard-hitting units for the Norsemen around, even though few of them, or even though this backline has been mostly protected for the most part. It's like it is being heavily compromised now. Marauders Chieftain, sorry, not Marauders, like I said earlier, but Marauders Chieftain is going to start running these guys over. The near hit and these horsemen are crashing down on them. It looks like the Maulers were finally able to crump through that front line, but the Phoenix Guard are going to hold firm. These guys are souped up. Great anti-large elite unit. They'll do a number on these Femir. They will take damage in return. Femir, doesn't matter what they're up against, they'll still do some damage. Looks like a little flank force trying to get round the back here, but there's not too much room for manoeuvring. Looks like these Maulers are just chasing off these spearmen, but they do need to come back in. Some spearmen are rallying on the sides. Might be worth just going. These looks like there's a big spell coming down here. Let's see what it is. Awesome Phoenix. It is. Nicholas dropping a big old one spell coming down here. And that tears up. Did a decent amount of damage this morning. Not as much as I was expecting. But it looks like it also did a bit of damage to the spearmen. These chariots must be a right pain in the arse. Even into troops. It's constantly moving. Great micromanagement. Starting to break down the high elves. This, all of a sudden the power balance is going in favour of the Norskans. Looked like for a minute they weren't going to be able to break into that back line. The first attempt failed and they were propelled backwards. But now they're in the back line, I don't think there's much they can do. This looks like it could be game over. The Hounds have constantly run away and come back, are starting to stomp all over these sisters. It looks like this could be game right here. There's a little pocket of strength with their Ever Queen's Court Guard and its handmaiden of their Queen over here, but completely surrounded. I don't think there's any chance. You see a lot of these units are starting to shatter off the battlefield, and when it gets all broken up like this, it just favours the Norskans so heavily with those chariots and hounds, able just to hunt down these units. So you see the Chieftain coming in, just crashing through, never sticking in any place too long. This big old axe swinging and cutting down these ladies, and they are not long for this world. It looks like, do they shatter? No, they're over here. It looks like they're wavering, quite likely going to break. And that is it. Game 1 of the finals does go to Ben the Barman, so very well played there. Consul of Rome is on the back foot, but very close game. It looked like he might just be able to secure that back line, but eventually Ben got in the back there, and really, once that happened, it was game over. So well played to those guys. So that is 1-0 to Ben. He can take this on the next map. So they set out their matchups. I'm just going to have a little look at the chat, and then I'll change the map over. Sweet, looks like you guys are chatting away there. Oh, so he uses that build quite a lot, does he, Tristan? Well, it didn't quite work this time. It nearly did, though. Sisters are so deadly. I don't actually have the DLC for them yet, so when I take them I have to just kind of go Master Lothar and Sea Guard, but they're really nasty. So, now I believe this next map is in a weird location compared to where it should be alphabetically. Let's have a look. Maybe it's not, maybe I'm just paranoid about that. Yeah, so it's not actually under A where it should be. There it is. It's under multiplayer, I guess. There's Alpine Ridge, which is a super interesting map. So there's a giant hill in smack bam in the middle. It does stop a lot of line of sight, and it can be really interesting to see what players try and do. Some people try and rush the middle and get that high ground. Others try and skirt around or sit back and shoot. So we'll see how these guys play. So it looks like Ben wants to play Empire by the looks of it. That's the one. Convocation is what I'm thinking of. The big flaming Phoenix spell. It looks very cool, but it didn't do too much damage. It looks like it could be Empire against Vampire counts. So Total Warhammer 1 showdown. This happened a ton of time in lore as well. Cheers, whatever, man. Honestly, I'm happy for these guys to play whatever, as long as it's not a mirror match, because mirror matches are a huge pain to commentate, I'm sure. It's kind of old school. I'm not sure who that one favours too much. I mean, the terror coming from the counts can be rather scary for Empire, who don't have the best leadership, but you can just go heavy with like the unbreakable units that they can bring, and you know, it switches on its head a bit. Let's see. It looks like he really wants to play vampires. Oh, greenskins versus dwarfs would be a great match. Can't dowie at all. Ah, that sucks. I love the dwarfs. Oh, it looks like we might be getting a dwarf greenskin showdown. Yes, very cool. This is the ultimate classic showdown. Council of Rome is going for the dwarfs. And Ben will be going with the greenskins. He did bring them early and he was super sneaky. With Snarsnick and the old Tricksy Traps, so we'll see if he pulls the same stunt twice. Could work against dwarves, I mean it gets you close, away from their cannons. I mean if you want to bring something like an Arachnarok Spider, which obviously huge target for all the shooting of the dwarves, but can do huge damage if it actually gets in, and use, sneaky traps, whatever it's called, Tricksy Traps, to keep it invisible, but I don't know, that might be quite risky. Black Orc's obviously fantastic in this matchup if you can stay away from Thunderers. You've got so much backline harass utility, the spiders, hounds, chariots. You can really shut down those gunmen. It'd be interesting. So Ben just needs to win this one more game to be crowned champion of the first ever Death Before Dishonour, which would be very cool. We'll see if Console can bring it back there. He's done very good so far actually in his games. He did pretty damn good against Ninja, going 2-0, like straight up. And that first game, not too bad there at all. So that'd be interesting. I can see my mate Tim in the chat there dropping a weng. Tim has no idea about this game, by the way. No idea whatsoever. So whatever knowledge he drops in the chat, please ignore it because he is a terrible tactician, both in life and at any computer game. Let's see if these boys are nearly ready. Ah, Ben the Bomber is in fact from the UK, so man from my own heart. I'll represent Britain here. No idea where Console of Rome's from actually. From Germany. Oh, we've got Britain versus Germany. Well, that's an old school classic as well, I guess. So let's see how this plays out. Greenskins versus Dwarfs. Interesting matchup. I think it favours the Orcs slightly in my opinion in this matchup. I'd feel more comfortable playing the Orcs. Just because of all that backline harass, spiders and so forth. And then big old Black Orcs in the front just smashing through that front line. Looks like Console is ready, just waiting on Ben. Stream's been running now for about an hour and a half, so we should be well on target to reach the 2-hour mark, or be under 2 hours. Even if this goes an extra game, it should be roughly around that, which is the kind of length I wanted to aim it at. As I know this can be rather long. We've had a few people already pop in and say they come back and watch, when it's been uploaded, when they've got a bit more time. It'll be interesting. I thought I'd do a midweek tournament. Most tournaments seem to be during the weekend. I wanted to get involved with them. Unfortunately, I work then, so I thought, well, if no one's doing midweek tournaments, I might as well chuck one on and give these guys a little platform to play a little bit more competitive. I'm not sure if I myself have played on Alpine Ridge too much. Played it once or twice on the ladder maybe. But I've seen it used a ton in tournaments and it's just really good fun. Just seeing what they do. I mean, Doom Diver catapults might not be the worst. I'm trying to think if they need line of sight. Because do they work in the same way as a mortar does? Looks like he's ready though. Cool, we're good to go. So this could be the final game of the tournament, we'll see. If you've got any bets on who you think's going to win, just let me know down below. Just greenskins or Dowie. I always like seeing a Dowie win personally, but I think greenskins have a slight favour in this advantage. Shouldn't take too long to load in. Luckily none of the guys today have had any lag, which I really appreciate. They've all loaded in fairly quickly as well. Because I've seen a few games, you know, you'll play one online and it just lags the whole time. It's just not worth it at all. So let's see, Ben the barman over here. 1 victory away with the goblins. He's gone for a very, very, very wide army here. Has he gone full goblin? If so, I'm going to be super impressed. He's gone for a Night Goblin Warboss, yes! Look at this little fella on his squig there. Very cool looking dude in general. He's going to be bouncing around. He does have the Spite of the Bad Moon, interesting. Doesn't have the sword. There's a sword which pins everyone in place around you, which I quite like the Night Goblin Warboss, but he hasn't brought that. So he has gone for a couple units of Night Goblin Squig Herds. Also gone for some Orc Boar Boys. That's a very interesting pick here. I don't see these guys used too often. Also Regiment Renowned Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. Some Chariots on the flank. But for the main side part of his force, he's gone for the 8-peak Loonies and the rest... Oh, the Warlord Boys as well. And just mass Goblins by looks of it. Goblin Archers, including the Rusty Boys. And also a couple of units of Nasty Skulkers. So these guys are very stealthy, can sneak up on you, and they're just prison shank you in the, in the hamstrings until you die. So they're quite nasty little guys. Night Goblin Shaman as well. Let's have a little look at this little fella. He does in fact have Gorkle Fix It, Itchy Nuisance, and Sneaky Stabbins. Very cool build there, very goblin heavy, which I like. I think it's very thematic up against the Dowie here. So for the dwarfs, we do have just a normal standard lord in the front line. Super tanky dude right here. Cheap, tanky, hard to snipe out. On the flanks, he does have a unit of miners. Only 1 unit by the looks of it. For the front line, dwarf warriors, hammerers. I mean, hammerers, they're going to crush these goblins, but they don't have any, black orcs or anything to face, where they'd really, excel in. A couple of units of iron breakers. More hammerers in the back. A couple of units of longbeards. 2 units of thunderers. A couple of units of slayers. So very nice army overall. I mean, much better, designed to deal with the heavy black orc builds, which a lot of people bring in this matchup. But interesting to see how he plays it. It looks like Ben's been very sneaky, dropping all these skulkers all over the back line, all around the place. Let's give them the green light. Oh, looks like one's caps. Good to start. So who's your money on? I really like this goblin build. I mean, these miners are super now behind enemy lines. It looks like there's basically nothing in the goblin deployment zone that doesn't have to be. I mean, there's just the boys on their little boars here who will do a decent job against dwarfs. It's always nice to have a bit of cav. And Night Goblin Warboss. Very cool build though, big fan of this one. I've not fought to bring mass goblins against dwarves before. I don't tend to do this matchup too much actually, but yeah, Black Orcs. Just go a bit heavier in the infantry and try and smash my way through loads of spiders in the back line. So it looks like we are underway. Goblins getting a big charge downhill, and this is going to be a very quick battle, one way or the other. They're just launching themselves into these dwarves. This front line is going to come crashing together. These hammers are going to have to deal with them. It's what they were designed for. Beating down people even smaller than they are. See a couple of fast throws coming. They're wrecking the warlord. Huge amount of damage. The 2 regiment renowned units are just straight away one's being broken off. This one's not long for this world. Great play by the iron breakers there. A couple of flanks were let loose. So the goblins are coming from all angles now, however. But that front line, it just got annihilated. I don't expect it to last too long, but long enough for these other units to try and get in the back line. Good archer fire though here, focus fire from these Night Goblins and the Rusty Arrow Boys, pinging down these hammers, but these miners were behind enemy lines. Now managed to pop in back here, so useful little unit here, and they just chase these goblins as long as they want. The war has been popped. To allow these Night Goblins to do a bit better of a fight over on the flanks. These skulkers are so far out that even when they do get here, it's going to allow the dwarves to reorganise the line and protect these thunderers. So Goblin Boss is trying to get in there and cause a bit of a nuisance for himself. And there's a blob of Orc Boys who have come thundering in. They've smacked straight into these hammers. A huge amount of damage. One of these slayers right here.
Die! All of you just die!
So very good initial fight for the dwarves. However, it is starting to fall apart a little bit. They're getting picked apart. They spread out a little bit, trying to chase down these units. And these hammers are just getting picked apart from all angles. There's a couple of units of longbeards over here which have been isolated. They're just going to be cycle charged to death by orcoids. Centre fight though is going a little bit better. They've taken a huge amount of damage on slayers now. With all their little buffs themselves, they've kind of broken off this main force. It looks like the Thunderers have been compromised though. Nasty Skulkers in the back of these Thunderers. And the very cool Night Goblin Warboss on his little squid is going to be comfortable in here. Is it Dreadnought? No, it looks like that might just be a dwarf head actually. The beard of the dwarf looking like Dreadnoughts there, and they're going to be punching these Thunderers to death. Nice recovery here then from Ben. It looked pretty rough at the start there. Let's see what they're saying. Yep, he can't say he thought it was going to be a massive vanguard, and there was. Chariots have been cycle charging, which is good. You don't get those guys stuck. You do not want to keep them into slayers. Slayers will drag them down fairly quickly. And it's become a big mess of a battlefield right now. Spread out quite a lot. Far, which dwarfs do not want. They want to be sticking together. As we can see, these miners are just getting picked apart now by archer fire. And those hammers over there, miles from anywhere useful. And I'm taking a ton of damage. Looks like a big Gorgle fix. It has been dropped down as well. The longer this fight goes on, probably the more it's going to favour the goblins. I mean, they'll run away and keep coming back. Because every time the dwarves run, there's so many goblins on the field, they'll probably just be able to chase them off. You see these Thunderers have completely shattered. These mines aren't long for the world. And these two units are really going to struggle now with this Night Goblin archers firing into them. Yeah, Ben's done a really good job whole tournament of chasing down units once they've broken off, ensuring that his opponent can't get any value back from them, whereas as we can see the goblins right here are running and they just keep coming back to the fray. I mean, it is hard to chase down units as dwarves though, you don't really have the mobility, you kind of just have to stick together, just beat wave after wave them off. My goblin is getting a little bit danger close though, these hammers are going to do quite damage there. He's going to come back just enough to pop another wall. It's really starting to look a bit shaky for the dwarves here. They still have these slayers here, long ears. I wonder how the hammers are not doing too badly. Same with the iron breakers. It'd be interesting. He really needs to start to try and rally his troops together. His hammers have come back. There's 50 of them. That's fairly decent. They're just protecting these Thunderers. They're going to pop a few shots in. If they can do enough damage, they might be able to break off these Orc boys over here. As we can see, the goblins just keep on rallying over in the distance. More of them rally once again. So Dwarf Warriors or Iron Breakers are doing their best to chase them off. But now they're going to be re-attacked by the Night Goblin Warboss. They won't be able to do too much damage to them. They are particularly well armoured with 125. So he needs to be a little careful himself there, but he's doing bits. He's doing his best. And the dwarves have fought back. Power balance is actually slightly in their favour now. They've managed to endure the worst of the goblins, and now it's... don't know. I mean, these two heavy units of Iron Breakers are still left. They're going to be a really tough challenge to break down, especially if you can unite them all together. Back them up with the Slayers, which will be able to deal... well, there's not too many good targets for them. They're better to deal with the Orc boys if they try and cycle charge. It looks like most of the Orcs are actually starting to break off. Looks like Spite of the Bad Moon is going down, just getting a bit of extra protection here. He's going to be charging in, trying to pick off these little side battles which are going on, the little skirmishes. Ignore this main fight as much as possible for now, because you're just chucking troops into a meat grinder where they're not going to win. And the cycle charging from the Orc boys is nice, trying to do some damage, but dwarves are very stout and they don't like to run. I mean, both, you know, at something or away. Good on short distances, you know, they're natural sprinters, but let's have a little look-see. So we do have the Night Goblin, who is just running around cackling. They've managed to shatter off these hammers, which is really good. The dwarves still have quite a big pocket of strength left. This could still go either way, but I don't know how the goblins are going to manage to deal with those Iron Breakers, plus the big unit Slayers. The Lord's fairly healthy as well. The Dwarf Lords, even when you know they're beat down to being one of the only units left in the game, they stand and fire. There's not too much here, which is going to be super effective against them. Looks like those Thunderers have finally been shattered off, and there is still more rallying Orcs and Goblins, what they like to do. As soon as they start losing, they like to run, but you know, they can't ignore a good scrap for too long. And it looks like the armies have almost switched deployments in a way. The Goblins' main strength is now over here. Let's see, Iron Breakers, 66 Longbeards, that's a lot of Longbeards still left. 56 Slayers, a very healthy Dwarf Lord. It's going to be sketchy, it's going to be very sketchy. As you can see, Ben's trying desperately to tear apart these Iron Breakers before reinforcements arrive. He does have Night Goblin archers shooting in the back, but it is not the rusty arrows. who have that armor sundering, and they may have been completely shut off the battlefield by the looks. I know, no, that's more night goblins over there who have shutted off those thunders. They need to come back to the fray. Dwarfs are going to be plodding over, trying to rally themselves to these Ironbreakers. Night Goblin boss Sinus does have to run away. So looking pretty good for the dwarfs though. The Gork will fix it on them, just slowing all these guys down. Looks like they're about to receive a rear charge as well from these dwarfs. I don't think the dwarfs are going to mind too much. Let's see if they manage to reform in time. Hammer's going up against them. The Night Goblins are smaller hammers for decent. The Orc boys do come charging. Those Longbeards are going to rally though. Dwarf Lord just tearing up Night Goblin fanatics as it does, and this is looking really bleak now for Ben. I don't see much of a way back for him. He just can't deal with this amount of dwarfs. I mean, Nasty Skulkers are pretty decent, you know. They're armor piercing. They can do some decent damage, but they really need to pick up these isolated units when they can. But these Ironbreakers just do not care. They're just smashing at any goblin that comes near them, or holding off the war boss. I think it's too little too late. Wherever he gets a little victory, this big dwarf blob just comes through and crushes the main, you know, strength of his army. Nice little smoke bomb going down there though by the Nasty Skulkers, and they're going to be stabbing this lord up pretty damn good. I mean, they're armor piercing, but he's still a decent combatant in his own right. Drops down the ground. I think he's about to scare off these Nasty Skulkers, and with that, it looks like army losses, and the goblins do shatter. So, the final is going down to the final game. It is 1-1 between these two competitors. To answer your question in chat, Tim, they do not know the wobbly fish tactic. That is a top secret tactic that we can't really tell anyone because it's too OP. Only a few of us in the know, actually know about it. So this is going to the final game, which is pretty exciting. While they discuss which one they want to do, or which matchup they do, I will find. Here it is, a Broken Leg Gully, which is quite an interesting map. It's got these two ridges on either side, so you can play it defensively, but there's plenty of room to be sneaky and do a lot of flanking. Yeah, he was just saying there, Ben, that it took him too long to get his hard hitters in, and I agree. If he got the Skulks in at the same time as that Goblin front line had hit, really could have pinned the Dwarfs in place and done some huge damage, and then just chased off routing units. But very well played to both these guys. 1-1 in the final. So it's come down to the final game. Oh, it looks like the stream may have crashed at some point. Let's have a little double check, make sure it's all good. Cool, let me know if the stream's going all good still. It seemed to crash on my phone there briefly. And someone said it's gone down to 320. It should still be the same resolution. Hopefully. If it's not, however, when the video uploads, it will get uploaded into full resolution, of course. In one big one, so you can always come back and watch that bit if it is a little bit shaky. But hopefully it should be all running good. Cool, they're just deciding there. Console says he hates playing Skaven. I also hate playing Skaven. They're a pain in the ass to deal with. I've got a nice Beastman build. If you guys go back, actually, it's one of my first videos. I pop up a Beastman build. That's kind of an anti-Skaven build for anyone who's fairly new to the game. The whole kind of idea of it is just to hit them from all sides in one go. Kind of like what that Goblin army tried to do there, and just shut them down against that back line as quick as possible. But apart from that, apart from using Beastmen, I think Skaven are quite a struggle. Looks like Console wants to go Empire. Let's have a little look. Well, there's no rush though. I'm just chilling right now. I need to go do some dinner after this, but I'm sure I will survive until then. we've had quite a lot of games go to, apart from the consoles game against Ninja, I think all the other is it 2 rounds or 3 rounds? The other 2 rounds have all gone to best of 3. So quite evenly matched here, which is nice to see. Let's have a little look if they've decided matchups. So it looks like we have Dark Elves versus Empire. It's going to be very cool. These are two factions I don't use too much. Both very good factions. Empire have a ton of utility. I feel like the skill cap for them is really high. Like, the better the player, the better you can make Empire. They don't really ever stop being good. Whereas someone like the Dwarfs, you can sometimes reach a bit of a ceiling. And Dark Elves fairly similar. I think for a long time they're considered one of the best factions until Vampire Coast came in. But they're still very good and very competitive, so we'll see how it goes. Interesting to see actually what kind of sneaky tactics they use up on this map. It looks like Ben the Barman has a few tricks up his sleeve in most of the games so far, especially when he's been playing the green skins. I'll let them know that they're good to go whenever. If you guys have enjoyed this format, do just leave a like, let me know. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the talk, all of that kind of good stuff, and we can always do one of these again. So it's a bit of an experiment, doing a tournament. It's quite a small one, obviously, just 4 players, but it makes it fairly nice and quick. I mean, 2 hours, still a fairly long video, but you guys can go away and come back and watch more. And, you know, if it gets a positive result or response, I'll do a couple more of these. You know, probably every 2 weeks, not every week. Might be a bit too much. And we can get some more people coming in, get some of these guys back in as well. They're always welcome to. And, of course, get some of you from the chat in as well. I saw some of you earlier saying that you wish you had signed up. Looks like Consul of Rome is ready. Who do you guys want to win as well is the question. Both these guys, super nice people. I have no favourites either way. Empire versus Dark Elves, very even matchup in my opinion. There's so many ways you can go. I mean, there's so much armor pierce you can bring from the Dark Elf side, but Empire might go wide, or they could go heavy cav, in which case you need the armor piercing. So there's a little bit of mind games with, do you go, you know, really hard in one direction and take, you know, like a mass cav, or do you try and mix and match a little bit, make it quite a balanced build? Apparently Tristan says Council better win. So Council, you've been commanded. You have to win. Otherwise Tristan, for one, is going to be very disappointed in you, and you can't have that, can you? So as soon as Ben's ready, we will hop in and get going. Okay man, good luck, have fun. Looks like they're both ready. So the final game of the stream and the tournament is the decider. Don't know what they're going to be called, and they're just title holder, I suppose, of Death Before Dishonour, King of Death Before Dishonour. I don't know yet. I'll figure it out before the next one. Give them a full-on grand title, big old entrance as well into the next one. So this is a super weird map. So as you can see, on either side there's these huge ridges where if you can get on top of, you can do some good withering firing. You can try and block up this gap here, or go massive heavy on the flanks. There's also a lot of woods on the flanks, so you can hide a lot of units up in here, do some sneaky flanking. My money is definitely on Ben, at least trying a little bit of that. Let's have a little look at his build then. So he has gone for some Dark Riders, some Doomfire Warlocks, and some Cold One Knights. Another unit of Cold One Knights, and some more Dark Riders. So very heavy in the cav there. Can be looking to get into the back line, do some serious damage. Use the Dark Riders to shut down range. Cold One Knights do a decent job as well against Empire Knights, and Doomfire Warlocks are just badass in general. 3 units of Harpies, also very good for shutting down that back line. Let's see what he has for his actual main front line though. He's got just some pretty cheap Bleak Swords, they are chevroned up a little bit, and some Dread Spears. Sisters are singing Doom Witch Elves, so these guys are really cool mechanic. If they do enough damage to you, you do Rampage, and you know the person loses control of that unit, so they can do some decent work against the Empire. Also Malekith, up on his Cold One here. He trying to think of the name of his cold one if he has one. No, I'm thinking of a Malice Darkblade, who's one I think is called Spipe. So he's just going to be up there on his cold one, not his dragon this time, gone a little bit more cheap and cheerful. There's also a couple of units of Dark Shards with shields. It looks like he's going to be trying to take this high approach here and ignore this, big dip in the middle. It could be very good for him. It looks like he needs to head this way. So over here, Council of Rome is in charge of the Empire. And leading them, he does have the man, the myth, the legend, Karl Franz, the ultimate people's champion, up on top of his big old nasty death claw here. He's going to be a huge pain coming in there, those massive attacks. Looks like he is repositioning everything, but he does have a lot of spearmen, a couple of units of great swords, or just the one. No, 2 units of great swords, and then a lot of cheap spearmen and halberds, a lot like his similar build done before. He does over here have a Jade Wizard, looks like just with the healing. A couple of units of Empire Knights, 1 Demigryph actually, so 1 Empire, 1 Demigryph. Empire Knights really going to struggle up against cold ones, but these Demigryph Knights should be able to do quite a big hurting on them. There's also some spearmen with shields, and a hammer of witches. Looks like Ben is splitting his army in 2, which is risky. Could pay off, especially, if Consul focused all his forces down here. But we'll see how this plays out. Looks like, has he gone for some vanguards? Yes, he has with the Harpies. And yeah, I'm not sure who my money's on. Just looking at the builds, I do worry a little bit for the Dark Elf build here. I'm not sure what they're going to do up against. If their Demigryphs get some of those cold ones, they could be in real struggle. Looks like they're all just repositioning, but we'll let them know. Good to go, whatever. It looks like they're not a big fan of the map. I thought it was quite thematic, but we'll see. It gives you lots of interesting kind of options. So one of them has readied up there. Sorry, I just want an extra second. I mean, the bleak swords will do just fine, up against the spearmen and whatnot. But if they get hit by those great swords will tear them apart. So he really needs to take those guys out of the cav and the shooting. We do go underway here, though. This Dark Elf contingent is moving forward. It might struggle. I know. Let's see what's on the left flank. It's all fairly fast, though. That's not too bad. They'd be able to loop around rather quickly. I was thinking if he had actually split up his bleak swords, he's in trouble, because half of them would be in battle and the other half would just be waddling over. So let's see what the Hammer of Witches, who is very near the front lines, actually, which is quite scary. It is going to be shooting, it looks like, at the Dark Shard. Not a bad shot at all there. Probably the best target he can currently hit with all the cav being on the other side. His Harpies are coming in just to threaten this Hammer. Yeah, the cav is trying to loop around as fast as possible. Cold Knights are going to be rather slow, though, so they're going to be used quite a reserve unit here. So the Empire Knights are already thinking about engaging. These Harpies, they're going to shut down this cannon for a decent time. I mean, the Spearmen will be able to fend them off. But that's not the nicest situation for the Hammer of Witches to be in. It's a very expensive unit. Nice shot there by Malekith coming down the hill. I'm trying to think what that was called. It's something of Malice, I believe. Coming down and doing a ton of damage to those cheap Spearmen. Looks like the cav has started to loop back rounds, and this could be very bad for these spearmen right here. And halberds, massive cav force is emerging from the forest. They're going to get pinned by these bleak swords and just taken apart. However, the front line probably is going to go a little bit better for the Empire. These Doomfire Warps do come crush in, and they're just trying to pick apart this army when the spearmen got a little bit loose. Empire is struggling to capture. Really still, even struggling to deal with these Harpies. It really isn't good for them. And because of that, the spearmen got isolated, and it looks like these two units also possibly are going to get isolated and taken down. Dark Shards are still fully online, although a big cannon shot does come through here. Slam a couple of Dark Elves. Let's take some serious damage now, so he has got it back online, which is very good death cancel. These great swords have taken a decent amount of damage, but it looks like the Empire Knights have managed to almost sneak into the back line, at least trying to dodge these spearmen. The Sisters of Singing Doom are going to start running out of the forest. Oh no, if they help these Demigryph Knights and just make them rampage, Demigryph Knights won't be able to get on the targets they need to get on, and they're going to spend the whole game fighting and literally really don't want to be fighting, but really they want to be getting in and getting wary of these cold ones. So it looks like these spearmen did get caught a little bit, but they're just being held up by the bleak swords who should be able to deal with them quite comfortably. And in comes the big cav contingent. This looks very good so far by Ben. Harpies have been swooping around, shutting down the silver bullets, which is very good for them. The Dark Riders have come crashing in the back of halberds, but they don't want to stay there too long, they'll get dragged down. This unit of Harpies is chasing down the Jade Wizard. The front line is going very good for the Dark Riders. They managed to charge in the Cold One Knights into the front and just break a lot of these units. Using Soul Blight as well to lower the armour of people, they managed to pay for themselves here. The spearmen are really punching above their weight against the great swords. All hope is not lost for once yet. He's popped in the back line with Carl France, and he's just going to be a beast in this matchup. He can stay away from those Cold One Knights, not too much that can hurt him. I mean, he's just absolutely managed to tear out off these Dark Shards, and he's popping in over here to try and help take down these Doomfire Warlocks and have the pins in the Empire Knights. Jade Wizard just constantly on the run here from the Harpies, but he's quite a quick fella on his little horse there. Malekith has dropped back just to crush the spearmen, but halberds are moving up. Looks like they actually did a considerable amount of damage over here to some Cold One Knights. So very big misplay there, weren't they? Yeah, they started to run away there by Ben. They got caught by halberds, which is not where they want to be. Could be turning this around by Constable now, actually. It's not looking as bad as it was. Power balance has started to almost a little bit more, though Mira's power does come down. His great swords in his front line is starting to be able to punch through. Dark Riders are now fighting spin, which is not what they want to be. But what happens to those Demigryph Knights? That could be key here. It looks like they may have been caught out, which is disastrous, because they're perfect for taking out Cold One Knights. Looks like they might have been torn one. Can we see corpses around anywhere? Is that a Demigryph there? Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like they might have been caught here in a little pincer movement. That could be pretty bad. So these halberds are getting charged now by Doomfire Warlocks. Well, it's going to fall back. They just want to do that. Cycle charge in and let the bleak swords actually deal with them. Carl Franz is flying around being a nuisance, and Malekith has lost a lot of health. Carl Franz could come down and back her up pretty good. Apart from that, it's going pretty well so far. Malekith's hunting down the Jade Wizard. Looks like the Hand Witches is completely offline now thanks to those Harpies, and Dark Riders are just chasing down and forcing off units. This whole fight is taking place very close to the edge of the board here, so every time something runs, it's basically done for. Harpies are fleeing here, but it does look like the Cold One Knights are rallying on top of the hill. I'm going to be coming down for downhill charge. So apart from Carl Franz, Jade Wizard's still doing pretty decent, getting into these Dark Shards, shutting them down. But he's really his last bastion of strength. He needs to pop off hills on him whenever he can, keep him going, and just probably his best bet now to snipe out Malekith. I mean, he does have a unit of halberds here. Let's have a little look. This unit is just slowly going down. Apart from that, it is not looking too bright for their Empire. Oh no, the Jade Wizard has been completely surrounded now by Doomfire Warlocks and Cold One Knights. He is starting to waver, he may break. Malekith comes flying in as well. Franz charges in, pops Gal Mirage, pops Bone Seeker, but is getting a soul bite from him. He's desperately trying to save the Jade Wizard. He really needs to keep alive, but he does like his rope. Don't think there's any way Ben's going to let him come back into the fray. He'll probably just chase him off with Harpies so he gets opportunity. There's still one unit of Cold One Knights, well, fairly healthy, about 3/4 health, just chilling over in the side. And now these Dark Shards are free of Carl Franz, and they can just fire into infinity. And it looks like they're going to break off Carl Franz, take the day. It looks like Ben the Barman is going to be the first ever champion of Death Before Dishonour. Well played there to both the competitors there. Some great games between them. Very happy the final also went all the way full 3 matches. So very well played overall. Just great play with those Cold Ones, actually. I was surprised they managed to do as good as they did against all these Spearman units. Malekith running around being a big old pain and big nuisance. Great play as well, shutting down that cannon as quick as he did. So very well played to competitors there. Thank you to all the competitors actually for being in here, including the other 2 as well. That did unfortunately go in the first round. So we had Peri Peri, Ninja, Consul of Rome, and of course our champion Ben the Barman. Of course they can all come back anytime they want. I'm happy to host all these guys again. They're very easy. Thank you guys all for tuning in as well. So let's just give a big shout out to Ben the Barman. No worries, man. Cool, so very cool there from all our competitors. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you really enjoyed. If you do like this format, we're trying something new with the tournaments. Yeah, do just leave comments, like, subscribe, all that kind of good fun stuff. And I'll see you next time. So, peace.